The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
This is Beyond Confidence with your host, Divya Parekh. Do you want to live a more fulfilling life? Do you want to live your legacy and achieve your personal, professional, and financial goals? Well, coming up on Divya Parekh's Beyond Confidence, you will hear real stories of leaders, entrepreneurs, and achievers who have stepped into discomfort, shattered their status quo, and are living the life they want. You will learn how relationships are the key to achieving your aspirations and financial goals. Moving your career or business forward does not have to happen at the expense of your personal or family life, or vice versa. Learn more at www.divyaparekh.com, and you can connect with Divya at contact@divyaparekh.com. This is Beyond Confidence, and now here's your host, Divya Parekh.
Good evening, listeners. This is my favorite time of the week, and what a beautiful week. It's week of Thanksgiving, time to say thanks, and I want to say thank you to being part of Beyond Confidence audience, because without you, show would not be possible. And I want to say special thanks today to my friend, Rebel, who is not only a wonderful, wonderful partner, but we have been together in bringing this show across to you, and of course to Network. And folks, this is the week of Thanksgiving. So take a moment, be thankful. And I also want to share something. We have started something very new and exciting. The movement, which is providing, it's called 111. And I'm just going to talk about one today. Giving 1 hour of your time every month for somebody else. So I want to share that today. I have connected with a new nonprofit organization for women's single moms, and I'm super, super excited. And as our partnership grows, I will be sharing with you how we are taking part in helping others make other people's lives better. So take that 1 hour every month. Think about it. If 150 million people in our home, in our United States, would just give that 1 hour, what would happen? 150 million hours every month, folks. We could do so much good. So take that time, be thankful. And today we are going to be talking about some tough conversations as you have requested. Resilience is not an option. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing that you enjoy. Folks who will be enjoying the podcast, I want to share that we have comments coming in, sharing. They enjoy listening into what we bring for the audience each week. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And now, without further ado, we have a panel, folks. So I will be introducing you to some powerhouses. Let's have them on the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have Christy Whitman.
Hi.
Amy Riley.
Good evening.
And Karen Wright.
Hello.
So I want to share, folks, a little bit about them. How did we come in contact? These powerful ladies shared their stories, and their stories were so powerful that amongst a lot of people, they were invited to be on our show. So folks, it's not just that easy that you can just hop on and get on our show to be with you. These folks shared their powerful stories, and they're doing powerful work in the world. And today we are going to have some tough conversations. So Amy, I invite you to share a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Divya. I'm glad to be here. I'm Amy Riley. I'm with The Courage of a Leader. I am a speaker, author, and leadership development consultant. And I believe that leaders who get the extraordinary results, who transform our world, are leaders who transform themselves first. in order to transform out there. And resilience is a key ingredient for that. So I'm glad we're talking about that tonight.
Beautiful. Thank you. Christy.
Yeah, so I am a coach for over 20 years. I'm an author of many books, and I am I've certified over 3,000 coaches since 2008. So I've been in this industry, but I'm a seeker first and foremost. And I love what Amy was saying, that is, in order for me to create transformation and change, I have to always be willing to look within and see what needs to be released and what needs to be brought in for myself. So I'm always just someone that's working on, trying to find even more joy and more expansion in my life. And I'm first a seeker and a light worker. And I'm grateful to be here with all of you.
Oh, we are grateful to have all of you ladies. Karen.
Hi, thank you for letting me be on the show. I'm so excited. I am a newbie author. I have a book coming March 2021. I am a Reiki Master, yoga certified instructor, and I, like Christy, light. I'm a light healer. I believe in shining your light, sending light and love wherever you go, and looking for the positive in all situations. And I love life. I'm just
Well, it's awesome because if you think about it, life happens in every moment. For example, we are here all together, and we have questions already coming in. So first of all, thank you ladies for being here. And dear listeners, you asked, where do these people share their stories? So I have been part of the summit of Influencer Summit. I've been part of a panel where we put out speakers, talent search, and these wonderful ladies have submitted their stories amongst these. And if you are interested in finding about any of those, we also run our story challenges. So please reach out to me at contact@divyaparekh.com. We would love to hear your stories. So we are going to go round very quickly and ask you, because resilience is the topic. So one of the questions is, what brought you ladies to the position you are in today? So give very quick highlights in around approximately a couple of minutes. So we'll start with you, Karen.
Okay, so I'm in the position I am today because of a loss that I've had in my life. Like all of us, we've had many losses. And about 14 years ago, I lost my daughter at the age of 18. And during that time, I realized I had lost my identity myself. And through trial and error and taking steps and not giving up, I'm here today. And I understand the importance of resilience because I was at the bottom. And through that, through the loss, I became stronger. And you see the importance of life. You don't take anything for granted. And your whole outlook changes very quickly with one phone call. And so it's been that happened and everything has happened. But in doing so, it has brought me to greater understanding of the person I am and the person I want to be. And that's who I am today. So thank you.
And Karen, you mentioned something very beautiful, that you were at the bottom. And just now, here's what I will say. Karen, so Christy and Amy will be coming back to you for that question as well.
Sure.
So Karen, tell us, today, so many people are at rock bottom. There has been so many crises, and I'm not just talking about one crisis, so many crises going on in our country, in our family. And when we talk about families, in our humanity, we all are family. We are woven together by a desire to have happiness, by a desire to achieve excellence, a desire to help others. So when people are at rock bottom, how do you say that resilience is not an option? Or do you think resilience is an option that you can just what would you say to that?
Well, we all have choices. We have our free agency. So resilience is an option. You can choose or you cannot choose. But I want to say that in those darkest hours of my night, I was in depression.
Mm-hmm.
I slept. I got my kids off, my 3 other children off to school. I'd go back to bed. And so it came to a point where I had prescription to help me through that time of my life to lift the fog. There's, I found that nature really helped. And so some days just getting out of bed and making my bed, I was like, yes, something today. Or taking a shower, like it's little steps. And so my whole motto is living now. So at this moment, what can I do? I can't worry about what, dwell on the past, although it's haunting you 24/7, or what the future is going to bring. It's about right now at this moment, what can I do? Mm-hmm. And every minute of the day fluctuates depending on input that's coming to us. And so I would say to people we're all struggling at this time, worry about what you can do at this moment. And whether that's just smiling with even no one around, that's okay. You just did something for yourself.
First of all, Karen, our heartfelt hugs to you for what you've gone through. I know it has made you a bigger and better person, and yet there's nothing in the world that can replace that hole. And you've come out beautifully.
Thank you.
So, Karen, you mentioned about do something for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Amy, first of all, share with us, how did you come to the position you're in? And then I want us to challenge ourselves to think that, okay, here's someone who's totally down. What is it that they can do to find that resilience in their lives?
Okay. Yeah, a few things that I would say are pivotal in me arriving where I'm at today. One, I'd say early in my career, I had the opportunity to work for a variety of companies in a variety of different industries. And that's important because I saw that I used the same processes, the same approach to create development experiences, but it looked very different depending on the company and the culture. And I thought that that was very interesting. And it made me want to have a variety and make an impact in different kinds of organizations. So I started my own business and became that external consultant and coach. It's almost 20 years now. It's 19 years ago. And it's been a great opportunity to witness leaders at different levels. Something else that happened early is that I got introduced to strengths-based leadership. And I think that's really important. I think it's a part of resilience as well. Like if we're working in alignment with our strengths and our interests, like it naturally raises our energy and our resilience. If we can distinguish, this is what we're great at, right? And let go of some of those things that we're not great at. Let those be weaknesses that we let other people take care of.
Absolutely. And you talked about playing to your strengths, and that's really important. And one of the things that we want to touch upon is that it's not about shoving your feelings under the rug or saying, oh my goodness, I'm experiencing doubts, I'm experiencing failure, I'm experiencing fear. That just doesn't cut it. I need to just get over it. So folks, one of the key things is acknowledging your feelings.
Yes.
Because acceptance does not mean that you're becoming complacent. Acceptance means you're bringing awareness, and awareness removes resistance. And whenever the resistance is removed, the next step will be where you are creating a home. Just like an acorn is a potential home of an oak, that fear and doubt is the potential home of courage. So Christy, same question to you.
So it's perfect what you just said, because the same thing that I help my clients do is I've learned to manage my resilience or have resilience through energy mastery, through watching the words that I say. It's really easy to say things that pull your energy down. To watch the words that I say. It's really easy to go into lack-filled thoughts and to be able to be with and process my emotions. I mean, I had 25 years ago, right when I started becoming on my conscious spiritual journey, because we've always been on a spiritual journey, that my sister committed suicide, and I was very close with her. And she was 11 years older than me. And I'm so grateful I had the perspective of light and energy when she did choose what she chose, and so that I could process my energy. So during that time, I'm sure much like Karen, the grieving process, there's anger, there's just complete shock, there's sadness, there's a doubt. I mean, there's just an array of emotions. And that time I just allowed myself to process every single emotion that I was having, whether it was I was feeling angry or sad or whatever it was. And that really gave way to being able to have resilience through a divorce, through losing a job, through having my 2-month-old son go into the hospital and have to have open heart surgery and almost losing his life. And, other contrasting things that happen. And when we're in this life and we look at the things that are happening to us, that contrast that we don't want, when we can shift our own consciousness, which is the only thing we really ever have control over, which is what we say, what we think, our perspective, our beliefs, how we feel, and then the actions that we take. When I was able to know, okay, wait a minute, am I in lack or am I in abundance? That's my resilience to say, I don't want to be in abundance. That's the choice that Karen was talking about. It's having that choicefulness to say, I'm here, I don't want to be there, and to shift it. And also what you were saying, it's like coming to that place of acceptance is not approval. So for me to be able to be resilient through my sister's suicide and to be able to heal through that, I had to accept what happened. Not that I approved of it, nor will I ever, but it's like I had to accept that in order for myself to move on. And that's with anything in life, is we have to accept our own thoughts. We have to accept instead of resist our emotions that we're feeling. And once we can accept those and process them, now we can choose something different. Now we can choose to be in joy or to have a success attitude or an abundant attitude. But we can't change it until we first have become aware of it and then accept it and then choose something else.
Christy, all of you have said so beautifully. And Christy, you said something really good, that acceptance does not mean approval. And acceptance paves the pathway to letting it go, to releasing it, for you to move into joy. And my condolences for what you went through too. And our wonderful listeners are sharing that too. And one of the questions that has come out is, where was life before the loss and how did it change after the loss? You want to talk about it, Christy?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I was born Scottsdale, Arizona, middle-class family. And I was just taught about the lie that if you accomplish and you go get this and you do that, then you're going to be happy. So it was always something that was outside of myself. And it was really always coming from a place of, you're not complete now, so go get it, and then you will be complete. And once I kind of checked the boxes of all the things that I thought were going to make me happy, I felt really unfulfilled. And so for me, my quest became really finding out about, what is this thing called life? I mean, is this really all there is? And that's when I found and met a meditation teacher that said the words to me that literally changed my life. Now, this is 25 years ago. This is pre-internet. This is pre-podcast. This is pre-secret. She said to me, you create your own reality. And I just leaned in and said, how? And she said, you're either repelling things from you or attracting things to you based on the way you think. And that was like the way I think. I mean, I knew I could change my clothes. I knew I could change my mind. If I don't want to go here, I don't want to go there, but my thoughts are my thoughts. And when I started really paying attention to my thoughts, I became a student of understanding universal laws and understanding that the most important universal law that any of us can apply is the law of sufficiency and abundance. Because most of us are, whether it's family or society or culture or, any kind of aspect that we're conditioned, is in lack, is in limitation. is not in enoughness, is in separation consciousness. And when I was able to shift and understand, wait a minute, when I am feeling bad, it's because I'm in a perspective of lack. But when I feel good, I'm in a perspective of abundance. Well, how do you get from lack to abundance? It's finding that satisfaction. So it's like a spectrum, and satisfaction is a tipping point into abundance. And so as long as I could find the positive aspects, like Karen was saying, right? It's this now moment. It's like, okay, breathing into this now moment, finding those positive aspects. So before my sister, I was really in a place of lack. And through this whole growth period and where I am now, it's like, I always know if I'm feeling bad about something, where's my thoughts? Where's my perspective? What am I thinking and feeling that's pulling down my energy? And then I could just process that energy. I can master my own energy and choose then, oh, I just said this, that doesn't feel good. I'm going to say this instead, change my words, change my thoughts, change my perspective, process my emotions. And that way I then feel differently.
Absolutely, Christy, what you talked about. It's really true that you went through the process and you showed the results, having that abundance. So Karen, can you answer to that question? Where were you before the loss and after the loss?
Oh, I was living life with labels and expectations that the environment, the family, the religion, everything had put upon me, trying to please everybody, trying to be the perfect mom, the perfect wife, everything that I felt, the perfect daughter. Like, I was always trying to do what I was supposed to do. And I lost sight of who I was. And the loss of my daughter was like a reality, a wake-up call for me, where during that loss, I'm like, who am I? Kind of like, Christy, what you're saying, it's like, what am I supposed to be doing here in life? What is my journey? And I was raised in a very prominent religious family, and I believe in God and Christ, and God has always been with me in Christ. But to what extent it was more of a fear, you do something wrong, you're gonna be punished. And so with the loss of her, the anger, the whole thing that Christy, you're talking about, those feelings that you're just so mad at God for taking your child, and why you didn't have my permission, you just took, all these thoughts came through me. And during that time, I realized I am still a daughter of God. I am a goddess, and I need to figure out what the heck my role is on this life. That little grain of sand that we all, there's so many of us, but what is my mission? And I knew I have something important to share with people. And so during that loss, it was finding out who I was and coming to the reality that I am important. We're all perfect. We're all important in this universe. And we all have something to offer someone else. And that knowledge and understanding gives me that strength. I'm the type of person, my friends are like, Karen, you're like a man. You don't think, you just do. And I do. If I think too much about something, then the doubt, the fear creeps in. But if I'm just like, jump straight in, I'm like, I'm there. Okay, now I'll figure out how to swim. But I'm going to get to the top. And it's just blind faith. I don't know what you call it, or stupid. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's like, I just do things and I don't think. And sometimes I've paid the price, but I'm learning. And that's the whole thing. And where I am now is a place of knowing who I am and my dreams and my desires. And I'm happy. And because when mom's happy, everyone's happy, right? So my everyone loves me because it's like, hey, this is me. I'm not the same person I was. I got divorced 6 years ago, and I'm not that person I was then. I have just grown in leaps and bounds in ways that I'm no longer being smished. I'm like, woo, blossoming. So,
knowing who you are, beautifully said, Karen. So, Amy, my question to you is, we are talking about who we are, having the clarity in life. How do you define resilience and happiness? for yourself?
How to define resilience and happiness. Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here thinking I haven't experienced the kind of loss that Christy or Karen have experienced. My access to these conversations have been through working with leaders in corporations and organizations, and just seeing what inspires them and just the work that they're willing to do to create extraordinary results in the world, right? Like, caring about their team, doing right by their team, making things happen. So resilience, I believe, is having that energy and fostering that energy in those of us around us, so that we can show up and create and cause what we want to create and cause day after day. It's kind of like a bank balance, right? That we have this like level of energy and resilience. And I believe it's part of our daily process to refuel ourselves and make sure we're taking care of ourselves. Not something that we do after the big project is done or after we get this whole to-do list done, but how are we taking care of ourselves and our energy along the way? Because it not only matters for us and how powerfully we can show up, the actions we see as possible, and how we go about taking them, right? If we can step into courageous action or not, but it affects those around us as well. Neuroscience has shown us that there's contagion there, right? And the moods and the emotions of those around me show up in my brain activity, right? And you feel it.
Mhm.
Some of the conversations that have been going on in our country recently, like you feel debate, and you feel divide, and it can feel like a downward spiral. And when we shift the conversation, when we pay attention to our words, we can create that upward spiral. So I love bringing these conversations to leaders in all kinds of situations and have them bring, like you all have been talking about, the awareness to our thoughts and to our emotions, right? Like, let's talk about feelings in the workplace, right? Because that has an impact, right? It has an impact on those around us. And if we don't bring the awareness, then we can get into reacting rather than responding, right, with intentionality. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I answered your question there, Divya. One was about the definition of resilience.
And the definition of happiness.
Oh, the definition of happiness. Yeah, I think that is everyone's unique definition. Mm-hmm. Right. And I saw a question come through in the comments about how do we know what we're supposed to do in life? And I think it's related to this idea of happiness, right? Are we showing up and doing what we're meant to do? And I think that happens in our strength area and where we naturally have passion and interest and energy, right? And what are we willing to, what's that bigger picture commitment that we're willing to step into?
How do you define happiness for yourself?
In the moments, I am fueled and energized by going for it. I like to have big goals in my life. I have a book coming out in March as well, Karen. It'll be my second book. Right? I like to have these long-term goals. I do in endurance athletic events. I get inspired by people going for what they're inspired by. And I want to support that and I want to honor that. And I get inspired when I see people supporting and honoring others. Mm-hmm. So that makes me happy. Mm-hmm. With my son makes me happy. Meaningful connection brings happiness.
Amy, you beautifully said it, that everybody defines their own definition of success and happiness.
Yeah.
To me, happiness is something that doesn't change. And when I talk about that it doesn't change, it's about having that inner connection, having that trust in humanity, having trust in yourself. That no matter how many times you fall, you get up. having that inner connection to yourself, seeing your inner genius, that despite setbacks, and here, folks, I'm bringing resilience and happiness at a junction where they come together, that regardless, whatever happens, that happiness is not situation dependent. Oh, yay, I got my job. Yay, I'm good. When you go there, then you have a boss. And what happens? Let's say a boss is a micromanager, then you're unhappy. Now you're looking for promotion, you get promotion, you find new responsibilities and find it's sucking up too much time. You cannot spend time with your family. So situations change. Crises come and crises go. It's about finding your inner sanctuary, building that inner sanctuary that will sustain you.
Yeah.
And help you thrive through crisis. There, resilience and happiness come at that junction. So, great questions that has come up. So, Christy, one of the questions is, do you just jump in and go full force, or do you set up smaller steps? In times, I'm just going to extend that question in times of crisis.
Both. I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's both and for me, what I mean by that is the energy, whatever. And what I mean by that is the way you want to experience or feel. It's important to identify what you want an outcome to be. So, for example, I'll give it a real life story. When my son Maxim, who's now 10 and perfectly healthy and amazing kid, rushed to the hospital when he was 2 months of age. We were told that he was going to have to get surgery, and he's such a miracle child because they had never had a baby this old have this type of surgery, because usually babies are gone within the week's time if they hadn't found this. Mm-hmm. So here he was 2 months of age, and they said would never have done a surgery on a baby this old before. And so I just turned to my husband and I said, okay, this is it. There is no other perspective that we are going to have. There's no other feeling, but he is going to be home. He's going to be safe. He's going to be healthy. We are going to imagine pictures of him growing up, wrestling around with his brother, wrestling around with you, taking him camping into Disneyland and all the places that we want to go. And he said, got it. And I said, well, with that vision, we need to hold that and be in complete faith that we're holding that all as well. And the energy that we bring to him when we're with him is that he just is pure love and all about alignment and feeling good and feeling very optimistic and happy. And he said, okay, I got it. And we did not let other family members around that had that worry, freaked out, fear energy. We just said, nope, we're just going to have this be just the two of us now. And every interaction that we had with him, Karen was mentioning sending love and light. We were constantly just sending him love and light. It was the only space that we would allow ourselves to go in. And when the fear did come up, or the doubt came up, or the frustration came up, because he was in the hospital for a month and there was a lot of ups and downs, we processed the emotions, we let it go, and then we returned back in total faith, seeing him in only one way, healthy, happy. He's now 10 years old. He is like the star of his soccer team. He's the smartest kid. He gets straight A's. He's the biggest smart aleck I know, and I love it. He's an amazing kid and just a heart of gold. I mean, just a pure heart. And so it was all along that time. There were moments of like, this is the big vision I'm holding. And if I could do this during a time when my son was like, they're touch and go times, holding that vision that I just want to feel complete faith that all is well. And that I'm seeing and only talking. I didn't have conversations of worry with my husband. We would only talk about how great it's going to be when he comes back home and he's healthy, and that how he's going to get stronger and how he's going to play sports. And these were the things we were talking about. When my thoughts would go to a worry, I would adjust them. When I felt emotions that were not what I wanted to and didn't want to feed into that, I would process that. But it was both and. It was taking those action steps with the full faith and holding that energy and hold that space.
Yes, holding him in that space, visualizing what he would be, what you wanted him to be. And that's so powerful. And I also want to acknowledge our listeners participating and being fully engaged. So Angelina, thank you for joining from New York. And Connie is sharing that happiness is about hope. And we invite you to participate. Share with us your definitions about resilience and happiness, folks. So Karen, we are talking about this. So let's say you are sitting across two friends. One person is agreeing with you and one person is not.
Mm-hmm.
And it's totally against your beliefs. And here you are, you're ready to react, you're ready to jump in. What can you pull out of that resilience bag that will help you understand the perspective of the person who's disagreeing with you?
I'm so glad you asked me that. Because I have a couple friends where we're upfront, honest, and we do not see eye to eye. And I have learned, I respect other people's opinions. So I have learned to step back instead of trying to prove I'm right, because that doesn't do anything. You know, there's a quote, is it important to be kind or right? It's important to be kind, right? Get it? But it's important to be kind. And so to me, it's about the respect thing. So I have learned to listen to what they're saying, because during listening, we have 2 years, I grow. I learn something from their perspective. Whether I agree with it or not, I can take it in or I can leave it. The step I take,
what happens?
I process the things that I take in, and then I am able to say, you know what, I've thought about this and your opinion about this, and I see where you're coming from. I don't totally agree with it, or do I maybe not totally understand it, but it's important to you, and so that's okay. We're all our individualities. We all have our own perspective on things, our own ideas. And you ask people that know me and they're like, whoa, Karen's like, I've got these ideas and just, I see things a little bit different. And people are like, where is she from? And listen to me. And they're just kind of like, okay. And then they might ask deeper questions to where I can open up more. And that is what I love to do with people. If I don't understand, is ask them a deeper question. Something deeper to help me maybe understand more so where they're coming from. I love people. And I want to get to know their soul and what makes them tick. Yeah.
Letting go of the need to be right. And that leads to so many discussions, arguments, fights, conflicts, and fractures in relationships. So that is very powerful. So moving on to Amy. Okay, so Amy, now let's say you're confronted by somebody who wants to ram down, especially it could be a client. There is an opinion, and especially in a corporate world, it does happen where sometimes the egos can be big. And now somebody's just telling that, no, this is it. What I'm thinking is right. How do you go find some resilience tricks? Because here it is. It's like, okay, 3 sessions have gone by when you have been consulting or coaching or blended coaching with them, and then not ready to budge. Yeah. What is it that you would do?
Yeah. So I'm going to say the same thing Karen said. I'm so glad you asked me this question. I'm actually working with a coachee, a leader right now who's working on how does he respond in situations where somebody is really strongly in a position of authority saying we need to do X, right? And so he and I have been brainstorming what all could we do, right? And I'm imagining, what if I'm in this situation? What do we do? And we've been kind of coming up with a whole list of possible approaches that are kind of on a continuum of risk, if you will. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, if you're in a group setting, you might do nothing and see if other leaders chime in, right? You might ask some questions. Or just say, like, let's slow down. This is a really important decision, right? There's going to be some impact, right? Let's think about it from the perspective of our different stakeholders, So you might ask some questions. You might ask about impact. You might ask about different stakeholders. You might make a suggestion. And I love the listening, right? And just asking some questions to truly understand that other idea. Because maybe it's not so foundationally wrong as I think it is initially, right? Ask those questions. I mean, Stephen Covey said, first seek to understand and then to be understood. And sometimes leaders are in positions where like, I really need to influence these people to move in this direction, right? I can be open to the how it happens, but I really generally need to move them into this direction. Well, the more you understand about how they're thinking and their perspective and where they're coming from and what experience has led them to think and feel that way, you know, the better you are going to be able to speak each other's language and find the common ground and find the alignment that you need to find. But it is take a deep breath, slow down, right? Respond instead of react. I talk a lot about the amygdala hijack. Right? Someone's coming at us with an idea and we don't like it. What do? I'm freaked out. We can't go this direction. I don't know what to say. This is an important person. This is an important client, right? Our amygdala doesn't discern from physical threats and psychological threats.
Absolutely. You're right on.
Right. So it's a psychological threat. It's going to fight, flight, or freeze. If we take a deep breath, we tell the amygdala, the human's okay. She's not running from a tiger right now. You can step out of the hijack and allow the brain activity to go to the prefrontal cortex where we have our critical thinking.
Absolutely. Definitely great points. And to add to what Amy has shared, very powerful insights, is that taking them down the road of what may happen and looking at the risk factors, because when you take into objective perspective where you're not telling them what to do or not after understanding what all these three powerful ladies have talked, take them down the road of consequences, take them who's going to be impacted, as you talked about stakeholders and all that. So very powerful. Christy, one very quick question to you, because we are drawing to the close of our show and I'd love for you all to share your contact information, is that if you are in a situation where somebody challenges your very profession, oh, you're talking about light and love and you're talking about attracting and having this vision, what would your response or reaction be?
Well, it's interesting because if I have and Amy was saying this, if I have a reaction, right, and not just a grounded response, that reaction is coming from a wounded place or an insecure place within me. And that's a programmed response. And for me, it's all about the imprints, the energy. There's a button that's being pushed. And so if I'm experiencing a button being pushed where I'm being reactive, I know that that's in me and I have to figure out what button is being pushed. Because if there's a button there, it's my button. It's not necessarily what the person's saying or doing. It's if I'm having an emotional reaction to it, I need to own that because that's inside of me. So sometimes I'll just sit there and kind of breathe and think about it and, let it in the moment, the law of allowing, right? Allow the person to say what they have to say. Sometimes if someone says something that doesn't feel good, I'll say, well, ouch, right? That doesn't feel good. So I'm putting kind of up a boundary, or I'm saying, well, that's an interesting perspective. So I'm not judging them. So now they're not on the defense. It's like, well, that's an interesting perspective, or that's an interesting way of looking at that, because then that's a very neutral type of way. And yet, if I'm feeling something in myself, that's something for me to, not in the moment, because it's always timing, be able to assess myself later and go, you know what that person said hurt or didn't feel good or whatever it was. And I'm able to then release that. And I find that the best way to go about that is understand that when we're judging someone, then we're reacting, right? But if we can have compassion for ourselves for having that reaction, and we can have compassion for the other person, then it's
Absolutely. And Christy, great thoughts. We are nearing to the end. So I'm going to invite you guys to share your contact information, any new book or program that's coming out. So that way our audience knows how to connect with you. Awesome. Christy, go ahead.
So I have a program that's a free program. It's 30 days of Watch Your Words. You could actually go to watchyourwords.com. It's a video every day for 30 days, 2 to 4 minutes. Tells you the words and phrases that most of us say, pulls our energy down and what to say instead. And you can also go to the desirefactorbook.com, or sorry, the desirefactor.com. And when you pre-order the Desire Factor, you get a bunch of meditations and a free course. So you go to desirefactor.com or watchyourwords.com.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Karen.
So I will be launching my book come March 2021. It's called Shine Baby Shine, It's Now or Never. And so look for this. My website will be shinenowornever.com. And LinkedIn's the same thing. So I'm just super excited.
Oh, congratulations. We're excited for you.
I'm so excited. And I'm also I'm going to be doing retreats. It's called Diamond Ignites. It's Now or Never. So that is in the process for 21-22, but it's coming. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for letting me be here.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Amy.
Thank you, Divya. courageofaleader.com is the website. The forthcoming book is entitled The Courage of a Leader, How to Inspire, Engage, and Get Extraordinary Results. And I have an offer for you. One of the chapters is called How to Be Resilient, Time and Time Again. So going in depth on some of the things that we talked about today, if you would like a free sneak peek into the book and get that chapter, just send me an email at amy@courageofaleader.com. Subject can be chapter, and I'll know what you're looking for.
Thank you, Amy. Again, thank you for being here, and thank you, audience, for being here. I wish each and every one of you happy Thanksgiving, and special thanks to Rebel for making this show possible. So be well and take care, and find that gratitude in your heart for yourself and for others. Until next time, be brilliant. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for being part of Beyond Confidence with your host, Divya Parekh. We hope you have learned more about how to start living the life you want. Each week on Beyond Confidence, you hear stories of real people who have experienced growth by overcoming their fears and building meaningful relationships. During Beyond Confidence, Divya Parekh shares what happened to her when she stepped out of her comfort zone to work directly with people across the globe. She not only coaches people how to form heart connections, but also transform relationships to mutually beneficial partnerships as they strive to live the life they want. If you are ready to live the life you want and leverage your strengths, learn more at www.divyaparekh.com. And you can connect with Divya at contact@divyaparekh.com. We look forward to you joining us next week, Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time.